And do remember, I feel great, I feel happy, and I love all of you guys listening to my programs. Tonight, I begin with the wrongs that are being committed, the misinformation that is being thrown out there on a daily basis. It is so much that I just can't keep up with them. Even if the day got 396 hours or 90 hours or 400 hours, I can't keep up with it. 3 programs a week talking about a couple of issues could never be enough. I get confused which topic or issue I should pick to talk on, and the length of time I should spend on them. So tonight, I want to share some of the major issues that I didn't touch on that was reported in the Kaieteur news during the past few weeks, if I get the time. Time is of the essence, so let's get going. I saw some lawyers protesting at Soku head office with placards over the arrest of one of their colleagues. But you would never find one of them holding a placard or even joining a protest line to condemn the illegality going on in this country daily with our mineral resources and our US $1 trillion oil sector. No, you wouldn't get none of them to join you. This whole country is heading for enslavement all over again, and none of them would challenge the illegal giveaway of over 1,000 oil blocks to ExxonMobil, Kaieteur and Kanji owners, so that Guyana can sell them in the right fashion, pay off the country's debts, all our debts, triple the police, nurses and public servant salaries, and help the starving nation to send their children to school with a proper lunch. None of them wants to even help to fight the tax case I brought against the state to have Exxon pay their fair share of taxes. Although I have been begging publicly for guidance and help on this issue. None of them ever even pick up the phone to say, Glenn, what help you need? But lawyers protesting for what is best for them. Who is protesting for you? Like I said, don't get me wrong. I am not against lawyers protesting for their rights. But, hey, this country is fast becoming like Asia and Africa. All I'm saying, guys, please don't let that happen here. At the end of the day, you would have children and grandchildren who would be left to eat mud cakes as food, like the Asians and Africans doing right now. And what would you say to them? What would you say to them from your grave? I wish I stood up. I wish I had protested. I wish I had put up a fight. I wish I had done something. Like I said, I'm just asking the lawyers these questions. This message, Uncle and Auntie, is not only for the lawyers, but for all of you who are listening. What are you doing? I want to say tonight to all those people who would from time to time send me thank you messages and I don't respond. Guys, I am not rude. I sometimes don't find the time to respond. But let me take this opportunity I have here and say how much I appreciate all the messages you guys send me on a daily basis. It fits in. It fills my day. It helps to motivate me to keep up the fight. I think, Bernard, thank you for coming. I thought you'd give me up too. Now, let's move to our Vice President emergency press conference he called last Thursday. Uncle and Auntie, namaste again, with a huge smile on my face. He told the nation how he putting up 14 oil blocks for sale and outline a number of things that will be on those contracts after the oil blocks is sold. First, I want to list some of the things Jagdeo wants from these oil blocks he's putting up for sale. And listen to them carefully. He wants 10% royalties, 10% corporate tax, the same 50-50 profit sharing we have with Exxon, he wants that too. He wants ring fencing. And he wants the new owners to only take out 65% as cost oil. He also wants signing bonus. And he will implement penalties for those who get the oil blocks and do not carry out the work programs on time. Among other things. Yes. Those are the things he's seeking in this new oil blocks he's putting up for sale. Uncle? As soon as he announced 10% royalty, phone messages start coming into my phone saying, "Thank you, Lall. Jagdeo finally listened to you and raised the royalty rates to 10%. From then to now, I keep on receiving phone calls up to this morning saying, "Glenn, if it wasn't for you, that royalty rate would have never reached 10%. Oh my gosh. Oh no, Uncle. Uncle, reading those messages and listening to these telephone calls, all I could do was shake my head in disbelief and smile. I really don't want to say this, but I have to. It's a terrible thing how people can be deceived or misinterpret words. And I wasn't offended by those people who texted me and called me. Because I knew they were genuinely misled. Either listening to Jagdeo or by the media houses and social media. Let me make this clear, Uncle. What Jagdeo said at the press conference, he would sell 14 oil blocks. And those oil blocks, if they find oil, you hear this? If the people find oil in them, Guyana will get 10% royalty out of them. Am I clear? Bernard, am I clear there?
Of course.
Thank you. When it comes to the Stabroek block that ExxonMobil hold or has, that holds a huge chunk of Guyana's oil, that stinking 2% royalty remains, Uncle. Nothing has changed. Nothing. As a matter of fact, Jagdeo said this 10% had nothing to do with ExxonMobil. He said it clearly at the press conference. But maybe you guys didn't listen and didn't know this. But here, I want you guys here how the media outfits in Guyana sell this story to the Guyanese people. I will begin with the Guyana Chronicle. Their lead story, the very next day, big and bold. This is what they said. More benefits for Guyanese. Then they have a strapline that reads, increased royalty, corporate tax among new fiscal conditions identified by government ahead of auctioning 14 oil blocks. That was their headline. And at the side of the headline, big and bold, is a picture showing the Stabroek, Kaieteur, and Kanji oil blocks. Now you tell me, when the ordinary person looking at this, more benefits for Guyanese, and them seeing a photo of Exxon, Kaieteur, and Kanji oil blocks next to that headline, what do you think going through their minds, Bernard?
It's a good deal.
Huh? The benefits, Jack, they're talking about coming from where? Not the picture they're showing with the Exxon, with the Stabroek block, Kaieteur, and Kanji, man.
They show the Kanji black big,
Huh?
the Stabroek black big.
You tell me that, man. Is that exactly that what they're doing? So you see why people have to call Glenn and thank him for 10% royalty? And I am pretty much certain that many of you out there would have already heard that Jack Dale raised royalty rates to 10%, not knowing that the 10% he talked about is for the new tiny oil blocks he's putting up for sale.
If they find oil.
And if they find oil, thank you. But this is how Vice President Jagdev and President Ali got the Guyana Chronicle brainwashing the entire Guyanese people with this type of information. More benefits for Guyanese with ExxonMobil oil block on the front page. How you like that? How you like that?
More benefits.
Huh?
Yeah, more benefits. Like if you get it any.
Like if you get anything out of the ExxonMobil oil block.
They say more, like if you get it
Yeah.
any right now.
Exactly. Now, let's move to the Guyana Times lead story the next day. This is what they had. Government moves to auction 14 oil blocks in coming months. And the strapline reads, royalty increased to 10%. Changes to cost oil and relinquishment clauses, says Vice President Jagdeo. That was their headline. Like the Guyana Chronicle, they also have a picture showing the Exxon, Kaieteur, Kanji, and the Black Sea in color. You hear that? The Black Sea, uncle and auntie, is part of the 14 oil blocks to be sold. This is why people can call me to thank me for the change in the royalty rates for Guyana. Both papers selling a dream to you, the Guyanese people. Then I see another news outfit that I would not mention their name. They're disgusting to say the least. But they're the mouthpiece for the oil companies. Yes, they're the mouthpiece for the oil companies. And you know what is more sad about this thing? This thing, Bernard? Guyanese helping them to sell our children these type of information back into slavery.
Yes.
You want to hear their headline? Guyana hikes royalty to 10% in major overhaul of PSA fiscal terms.
Major one.
Yes. Guyana hikes royalty to 10% in major overhaul.
Really?
Yeah, man.
If only.
This is one of the headlines that was going Wild West on social media. Guyana hikes royalty rate to 10% in major overhaul of contract to rake in money. Those are the kind of headlines and pictures, uncle, that confuses the nation and its people. Let me clear up this whole confusion once and for all. Jagdev is putting up 14 tiny oil blocks for sale, which has little or no oil in them. Am I clear, man? And that is what he wants 10% royalty on. That is what he wants 10% corporate tax and ring fencing, along with 50-50 profit sharing and so on. Not Exxon Stabroek block. The richest block that stretches from Suriname border to the Venezuelan border. No, not that block, Uncle and Auntie. The one with all the oil, you have nothing to get there. Jagdeo said clearly, nada, nothing. And like I said Friday night on the TikTok, had we gotten the 10% royalty, the 10% tax along with ring fencing from ExxonMobil in the Stabroek block, every Guyanese should have been partying by now, celebrating Christmas in November for the rest of our lives. And our grand and great-grandchildren's future would have been set so great that their great-great-grandchildren could have also enjoyed what we would have been enjoying today. But it seems with Jagdeo's action, as if our children will have to continue going to school, fainting in classrooms for generations to come without food in their stomach. Look at these clowns. Sorry, I promised Mr. John not to call them clowns. Sorry. Look at these intellectuals we have. These financial gurus we have. The tiny oil blocks where no oil has been found yet. They want 10% this and they want 10% that. But the one that already has over 11 billion barrels and billions more to come, that one Jagdeo protecting.
Why?
Don't ask me why. I never went to that university to answer that question. Don't ask me that question. You got to ask Jagdeo that question. Now you tell me, where is the more benefits for the Guyanese coming from, Uncle?
Your dreams.
Huh? When we are not getting anything from the chunk of the oil already pumping out there. Huh? Where it coming from? Y'all should ask the Guyana Chronicle where it coming from. Or Jagdeo. Now you tell me, who would want to come and invest in these small oil blocks to give government 10% this and 10% that? When ExxonMobil, with an oil block more than 15 times larger, is allowed to walk away tax-free. No ring fencing, no full liability coverage in the event of an oil spill, and only spitting a 2% royalty at us. Huh? This is how we get in more benefits, according to the Chronicle Guyana. Huh? This is where more benefits coming from Guyana Times. Wow. But in all of that, I was very pleased to see David Patterson and Vincent Adams of the AFC, Aubrey Norton, the opposition leader from the PNC, and countless other people jump on board with me, calling for better terms in the ExxonMobil contract. I am happy about that. David Patterson said, and we carried that story 2 days ago, that ExxonMobil must be subjected to these new terms and conditions for all future projects. Yay! Raise your hand to that, and let's fight towards that. Norton and Vincent Adams said almost the exact thing. I have literally been begging Guyana since before Jagdev approved the third project, that we should hold it back and squeeze Exxon B for more. No one took me serious back then. He approved the third project, then approved the fourth project. Again, I was calling for Guyana to look at this and got nothing. The third and fourth project, Guyana got nothing. Patterson and Norton is now joining in to say we should get the 10% royalty, the 10% tax, and every other thing Jagdev wants from the new oil blocks. I still love it. At least they're waking up. Hey, Bernard? They're waking up, Uncle, but slowly. Vincent Adams, who used to run the EPA, he pushed it a little further on Friday and said that Jagdev is attempting to use these new terms to distract the Guyanese people from calling for a renegotiation of Exxon lopsided contract. He went further to say, Bernard, that Jagdev is protecting Exxon because lots of his friends and cronies of the PPP already gotten contracts. So if any changes come to Exxon deal, it will affect the pockets of those friends and cronies. He made some sense. God, some of these guys already get contracts. But that has nothing to do with the deal. Exxon has to give contracts anyhow. You understand? Okay, Mr. Vincent? Yeah. What is your position on this issue, Uncle and Auntie? You on board with us? Calling for the same terms and conditions to be applied to ExxonMobil? Or you're not with us? Or you're with Jagdev and the PPP? Don't you believe that the terms and conditions should apply to every other project ExxonMobil wants from now on, man?
Most definitely.
Huh? You can call me after the program and we can have this, we can continue this discussion. Then at the press conference, he talked half an hour about the gas plant at Wales without showing the nation a single shred of evidence how this plant will give Guyana cheap electricity and money in our pockets. Although every one of us calling on him to let us see the evidence, he said nothing about that again, but talked half an hour at the press conference on it. Uncle, let me repeat, that's the biggest Ponzi scheme he's throwing on us, where the private persons he's planting into the project will reap the benefits of this gas plant, while our oil money, yes, our oil money will be coming out to finance the entire project. You remember during the one-on-one, I asked him about the private people he going to install, and he said he doesn't know anything about that. Well, I proved him wrong. And he himself talked at the press conference that I put out advertisements to grab the private investors to build it. During the press conference, he told the reporters Glenn owes him a front page apology since I had promised him to find a company that can supply solar electricity cheaper, and I didn't. Yes, that's what he tell the press conference. I owe him an apology because I had promised to find a company to supply electricity cheap in Guyana. I want to play him for you guys listen. Could you please play him?
I'm just communicating that to Mr. Lall through the medium of the press conference, because I suspect the reason he didn't come today, he owes me an apology. They've been talking a lot about solar is the way forward. And I said to him, bring any sort of power, the renewable, whatever. Get it on this program at 5 cents per kilowatt hour. He said it's being generated at 3. I said, we will give you a power purchase agreement at 5 cents per kilowatt hour. He said he could get a company to do that. I said, if you can get that in, I think, 4 weeks, I expect a front page apology that you've been talking nonsense all along and misleading the people of this country. So he persists in the same thing, but he is not sent this company that he has or abroad who can make all of this money now to us to get this proposal, because we love to buy power at 8 cents, at 5 cents per kilowatt hour. The cost of the fuel alone, the bunker C4 is 13 cents per kilowatt hour. The fuel alone. So I hope that I get a front page. I know the editors can't do that, but I hope that he will issue the front page apology and say, I have been talking nonsense.
Well, Uncle, that is not even half the story he's telling Guyana. A US company sent me an email requesting a meeting with Jagdeo to discuss the whole idea and the project. That email, Uncle, was forwarded to Mr. Jagdeo by Lall. He, in turn, forwarded the email to Peter Ramsarup of Go Invest, who responded directly to the US company with a one-line answer. You hear that? With a one-line answer. You will hear from this US company's CEO for yourself what he has to say. Let me call him.
Hello.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
I have you live on the air, and I would have, I guess you were listening to what our Vice President had to say, how I owe him an apology. You care to talk to this nation and tell this nation what's the story behind this whole thing?
Yeah.
Because I would have reached out to you people on this gas, on this energy, this electricity sector, and you did send me an email which I forwarded to him, and you heard me. Could you tell the Guyanese people the rest?
Yes, absolutely. First of all, we know the power energy situation in Guyana. We know how weak the system has been working for several years. So when we heard about the necessity of the government of doing this gas ashore project, and we heard that they were going to invest between 1.2 and 1.5 billion dollars just to produce 300 megawatts, we thought that it was a good opportunity for us to present the project. So when you talked to me, I said, okay, we're gonna do the proper evaluation and send the project to Mr. Jagdeo, which we did, offering a project between 200 megawatts with 50 megawatts in batteries. We could grow that project, of course. I want to say that 100 megawatts is good for about 16 to 17,000 houses under American standard. So we were offering about 35,000 houses, power for that amount of houses. The cost is not over $300 million at all. But we were offering Mr. Jagdeo to do a feasibility study, to do exactly what we need to do to present the government with numbers, and technical facts, because when you talk energy and an installation of this size is a lot of technicalities. And also, we need to fix the grid. Somebody needs to fix the grid. There is no point for you to produce energy if you cannot distribute the energy.
Exactly.
His answer was, I guess, I mean, from his office. I don't know if he was the one writing the answer, that he didn't have time. We proposed to go over there the week of October 24th with the agenda absolutely open to meet whenever they want to meet. And they said that they didn't have time, and they were suggesting for me to contact another governmental office, which I don't know.
That's Go Invest.
Strange for, yes, correct. That's the one. And it was strange for me because I'm assuming Guyana doesn't receive offers like this every week. We are not offering to compete with the oil business or nothing. We want to take to Guyana green energy, renewable energy at a very affordable prices. Nothing like the gas ashore is gonna take to Guyana. Imagine if they want to build 300 megawatts and the cost is $1.5 billion. Just do the math. You're gonna have a higher kilowatt that the kilowatt cost that the one that you have today.
Exactly.
And so it was strange for me to find out that they didn't want to meet with us. We offered to have a meeting with the technical people over there and do the proper evaluations. At the end, it's free information for Guyana. If they want to call for an international bid, they could use our information. And then if we won the bid, I'm more than happy to do it, but they don't want to do it. And then we found out that they're already building the pipelines.
Correct.
In I think in Houston, I don't know where, to build the gas ashore project. So what's the point? What's the point of telling you to contact all the people to develop a project? They don't want to receive us, and then they're already producing the pipelines since June this year.
Exactly.
So we don't understand. We had the air tickets, we had the hotel reservations in Guyana, and very strange for us, the situation, because I think Guyana needs green energy, and that was our offer.
Can you give me a moment? I myself was shocked when I saw the government put out a statement that ExxonMobil began the construction of the pipeline 6 months prior to him coming on my program. So he was just making myself and the Guyanese people, including you and your company, a mockery. Right?
And we are not even asking for money from Guyana. No. We are going to bring the finance to the project to produce green energy. And so they could even use part of this green energy to produce green hydrogen, which is part of the future. We believe that not only our solution, it's a mix of solutions to have green energy and reliable energy, because you're not going to have a developed country if you don't have energy.
Exactly.
So it's we were very confused, and it's sad for us. I'm not here to judge any type of intentions. I'm assuming the government has the best intentions, and we believe that. But the clear answer is that they didn't want to meet with us. And an investment of $300 or $350 million is not something so simple. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. It cannot be worked out on an email or on pen and paper. You have to sit down, and both teams have to sit down and work out.
Yes.
All the details, but but they refused to meet.
Correct.
So in my mind, it was just a sham to show the Guyanese people, that he's willing to accept any proposal that is cheaper, when in fact he's just making a bluff.
Well, what we offer to them is to give the government and to the public information the results of the feasibility study. You need to have the technicalities in your pocket before putting the final offer, because you will find some surprises, and this is normal, not only in Guyana. In order to develop an energy project like this, renewable energy like this, you need to, sit down with technical people, local people, and involve the government. This is not just administration. This is technical, and I'm assuming everything starts with the meeting, because I mean, if you don't want to meet with your partner that is going to bring energy to Guyana, it's strange. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you, my friend. Thank you. I'm so happy that I get you to clear up this aspect of it, so that the Guyanese people see the game that Mr. Jagdev is playing with their lives and livelihood. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
We'll stay in touch.
We are always in, with the interest of going to Guyana, because we love Guyana. I know Guyana from a long time, and I think we need to, we need to take care of the country and the environment, and that's why we are so into green and renewable energy. So thanks for the contact, and whenever you need me, I'm here.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Thank you.
There you go, guys. There you go. People call a meeting of their board of directors to discuss the possible investment in Guyana. The people went as far as make hotel reservations, book plane tickets to travel to Guyana, Bernard.
They are too busy. Government are too busy.
Have a hardback award from Go Invest or Mr. Jagdev for that meeting.
No, they say they're busy.
Wow. The next thing Guyana is hearing, Exxon start construction of the pipeline 6 months. How you like that? 6 months prior to that. Now, Uncle, let me tell you how I feel about this whole game Jagdev is playing. He sat on my program, made us believe that he was genuine in finding people who can supply cheap electricity to Guyana, when in fact he was making us into donkeys, because he had already 6 months before authorized ExxonMobil to begin the construction of the pipeline for the Wales gas to shore project. What do you say to a leader who does things like this in the open, Bernard? And then calling on me at his press conference to make a front page apology. It's a big deal for he and the private partners. This gas to shore project, Uncle. Yes, it's a big deal for he and the private partners. But it will soon become the biggest crime for all of us. Y'all wait, y'all watch, and y'all see. That same gas to shore project. Wait and see where that will land Guyana. India spent 165 million US to install 450 megawatt of solar power. Double what Guyana need. Right next door, Barbados installing 178 megawatt for $100 million. Countries all over the world, man, too much to mention, doing it cheap, while Jagdev rushing ahead to spend close to 20 times what those countries spending for their electricity. This is what Jagdev doing to Guyana. Concocting all these tricky schemes, and wants an apology from me. Man, Uncle, with today's technology, y'all just gotta go to Google and Google these things. You will see it Wild West all over the internet. Even in the US, Europe and China, Not only India, cheap electricity there was less. And it is not from the gas plants, like what you're going to give us at Wales. It's from wind and solar.
Solar hygiene.
And hydrogen, yeah. He is the one that should be apologizing for the rest of his life. Not only to me, but for the entire nation. For the terrible things he's doing now. And the things he did as president and vice president and when he was Minister of Finance. He is the one should have been apologizing to this nation. You know, Uncle, if I am to list his failures, his misdeeds committed on this nation, the radio station and the newspaper pages wouldn't have time and space to list it. Just ask him to name one single project under his watch that was not tainted with corruption, bribery, and failure. Or if anyone of you could call me and name a project you're all happy with, and we can have a discussion, call me after the program. I want this type of discussions. Let's move on from that. 1 hour out of the 2-hour press conference he had Thursday, he talked on the gas plant and the sale of our oil blocks. 1 hour just for the gas plant and the sale of the oil blocks. He said absolutely nothing about the oil business. He didn't say a word about a $9 billion Payara audit that was to be completed at the end of September gone. Nada. Nothing. Nothing. Or when he will begin the next audit for the fourth $10 billion Yellowtail project. Nada again. Nothing. He didn't find the time to give us any information how we the citizens can make some money out of the deal. No. Nada. But he took the other hour of his press conference to cuss down Norton, how petty the man is. Yes. This is how he manages the oil sector. Take away the Kaieteur News, Uncle, the Kaieteur Radio, and a small group of persons, and ask y'all if y'all would ever know anything about what's going on with the affairs of this country. Take it away. You would hear absolutely nothing. Nada. Nothing. You hear nothing but lies, tricks, deception and distraction all the time. That's what you get from them. Look at this jingle bell story about a new contract with those 14 oil blocks. That's a jingle bell. They will be ringing throughout the Christmas season in y'all ears. When in fact, those tiny oil blocks have little or nothing inside for y'all. Every day you open the Kaieteur News, is US $1 billion and US $1 million contracts Exxon handing out to their foreign friends and companies. What do you hear from Jagdeo? Nada. Yeah, man. Most of these multi-million dollar contracts that Exxon giving out, Guyana has not approved. But Exxon busy giving it out. It is like Exxon doesn't give a F or a S, fish or shrimp, whether we approve the projects and the contracts or not. They're going ahead. These things got to get the blessings of Mr. Jagdeo. If not Exxon them cannot do that. These are the kind of things Jagdev should be holding press conferences to talk to us about. But no. If he hold a press conference, 1 hour is spent bashing the PNC and the AFC. And don't get me wrong, the AFC and the PNC does almost the same thing. This is what they occupy your minds and brains with, uncle. And that becomes the everyday discussion in the streets. Everyday discussion in the streets. Man, I love this country. And I love all of you too. Now let me tell you about a story we reported today. US officials are worried that their taxpayers will be left to foot the cost to clean up the ocean floor as Exxon and Shell selling off 23,000 wells off the coast of California and walking away. You hear about that? The people worried. They're worried, uncle. Exxon and Shell selling out 23,000 wells they have off the coast of California and walking away. The people worried about the cleanup costs. You know, this may sound like it doesn't concern Guyana. Well, let me say this, uncle and auntie. This is super, super dangerous for us and our future. And you wouldn't hear Jagdev saying anything about it. Nothing. This is what, let me tell you what a U.S. attorney at law, an accountant who does research in the oil and gas sector had to say. The gentleman said, this deal allows the sellers to shed decommissioning costs. You got bad assets with big liabilities, and you can get rid of both at the same time. That's a win-win for Exxon and Shell. You hear my words? That's a win-win. Yes, like you kill two birds with one stone. The two oil companies that is selling out those wells there, the man talking about. Now let me break it down simple. What Exxon and Shell is trying to do right there. They did it all over the world already and walk away, leaving countries with the brunt of the costs. I'll try to simplify that. A man picking mangoes in your farm, and when the mangoes is finished, he has the responsibility to clean up every single thing he carry in the farm. But after he done pick the hang of the mangoes out, yes, he sell out the whole operation to a few hustlers, collect his money and walk away, and left the cleanup responsibility on the hustlers. Yes. Let's say if there's a well blowout from the old wells, who will take care of the cost, Bernard? The hustlers? These are hustlers with no money in their pockets. When they pick out all the mangoes that left, who doing the cleanup? No, not the hustlers. They may get nothing to do cleanup. All them get is a little couple yazi mango and make their way out the farm, leaving you to bear the burden of cleaning up the farm, uncle. That's how simple it is. Basically, that is what is going on there in the US. Exxon and Shell running away from having to spend hundreds of millions of US, if not billions of US, to caulk those wells and clean up the ocean floor. That's why they sell out the thing, to the hustlers and running away. This is what Guyana has to guard against. Bernard, it's not that the oil finish in the wells, but it's too slow for them. So they pass it on to them small hustlers.
Yep.
Collect their little money and take themselves out from that responsibility of cleaning up and corking those wells. That's how the big oil companies operate, Uncle and Auntie. Yes. Like I said, they did it all over the world.
You don't want small change.
No. Small change. Couple mango left on the tree, no. Call your neighbor, man. Hey, give me a little change and take that. Right? And left the neighbor to do all the cleaning up and corking the wells. In the case of Guyana, Uncle, it's a little different. ExxonMobil and the government set up a fund called Decommissioning Fund. This is the part you got to listen to, in which every year money is coming out and going into that special account. You want to hear this? Only ExxonMobil have access to it. You hear, Bernard? We have this decommissioning fund, this account, that Exxon them taking out money, and only ExxonMobil have access to it, not Guyana. Here it is, Uncle. In 2021 and in 2022, the last 2 years, 355 million US done come out from the oil, and guess where that money is sitting? In the hands of ExxonMobil. Yes, them bank book that money then. And Guyana has no control or say over that. That money should have been in our bank book to reinvest in the oil sector or patch roads, build some schools, hospitals, and so on, increase public servant salaries. Instead, our government, President Ali and Vice President Jagdeo, taking loans with interest to do these things, and have ExxonMobil reinvesting our money, making more money out of our money. But are they gonna laugh with these things, eh?
If you don't
Huh?
enjoy, if you don't laugh, you don't cry.
We got $355 million.
Our oil money.
Our oil money sitting in Exxon pocket. And we running to the bank for borrow money, paying interest. This is how Jagdeo, this financial guru, some just bow down to him and throw mahala around his neck. Yes, this is the man managing our $1 trillion oil business. 355 million US only for 20 and 21 sitting in ExxonMobil pocket making money for them. Bernard, you got to hear this piece. Every year, Uncle and Auntie, they will be taking out more as they increase the oil projects to clean up all these projects after they finish. Yes. And all that will be taken out will go into ExxonMobil bank book to either reinvest or to lend back Guyana with interest. Jagdeo, Norton, and Ramjatan got to be the best leaders in this world, Bernard.
Definitely.
Huh?
Definitely.
You see why you gotta love these guys? These are the things why you gotta love them. 355 million US dollar of our money for cleanup costs sits in ExxonMobil bank account while our government a borrow. The other day they borrow 160 million US with interest to build schools and hospitals. You remember? The 160.
Yeah.
Way to run country, eh? We borrowing back we own money, paying interest on it too. I love Guyana. Before I take your phone calls, let me tell you about two other news items that you can find more details than what I'm about to tell you in the Kaieteur News tomorrow. Yes, this is the first one. The government of the Czech Republic approved on Friday last a sharp 60% windfall tax on energy companies and banks, which they say, here it is, Bernard, will give them a whooping 3.5 billion US dollars. You hear that? Friday only. That's what they slap on the companies and banks. Uncle, if we slap on windfall tax on ExxonMobil now, we got money to start living the life all y'all dreaming of and pay off stupidity debt what we got, $3.2 billion. You hear that, Bernard? But these smart gurus, you tell me don't call them certain words. These smart gurus sleeping. US, UK, Germany, Italy, Canada, Hungary, a ton of nations, France, have also introduced windfall taxes on all the energy companies and banks. Although them get beautiful oil deals with their oil companies, they still did that. These bourgeois we got for leaders, not doing anything. Is either the hand tie, their foot tie, their mouth tie, or something else tied to these oil companies. Make them afraid to even call. Some of them don't even call ExxonMobil name. They don't even, you don't even hear Exxon mouth. Exxon out of their mouth, you don't even hear. And this is the Guyana Revenue Authority, not Ghana Revenue Authority, Guyana Revenue Authority, since 2020, needed at least 70 people to properly monitor the oil spending and costs. You hear that? Since 2020, they need about 70 people to monitor the oil spending and costs. We are in 2022, and they didn't even have half of the people in place as yet. I didn't hear me, man. You hear me, man? This information is part of the Auditor General's report that was released earlier today. Today. You guys see the trouble we're in this country? Are you really understand the trouble we're in this country? You can't find people or hire people to check what is happening in this oil business, man. You can't implement windfall tax. Hire the best we have in the world to check our business, man. We couldn't manage Lisa 1 and 2. And Jagdeo knew that. Yet he went to the third and fourth project, which we haven't even started to check and verify. Come on. Come on. Today we are being told by the Auditor General from his mouth, from his pen, that Guyana hasn't put in place half of the 70 people needed to monitor, authorize, verify, and check what is going on out there. Come on. Yet Jack Davis is going to approve a bigger project, the fifth project, $275 million barrels a day, 1,000 barrels a day. Come next month, December, he going to do that. He given the oil companies Christmas with bonuses for a lifetime, while more than half of our children fainting from hunger in classrooms, man. Huh? With that, I say no more, brother. I am done for tonight. Thank you.